Okay, Pat, a good win, but obviously there's some frustrations there.
Yes, certainly. Well, we're happy with the win, which is important to get off. But we always talk the outcome's important, but the process of how we do it, and I think the process that wasn't quite right tonight. There's some good things, but certainly there's things that we can work on. And it's disappointing when I think the change room was pretty quiet afterwards. I think everyone's happy for the new guys, played their first games, and happy we got the win. But we know that we probably made it a little more harder on ourselves. So. Big week for Glasgow before we have a break, so we'll just take the learnings and get back into it.
And what in particular were you disappointed with, or what?
Yeah, probably our exits. Getting out of our half. We knew Dragons are a strong team if you let them into your 22, and they got some big runners, and as it turned out, they put us under a bit of pressure with multi phases of big runners, and they crashed over for two pretty relatively soft tries, and that was frustrating for us, but we always go back, how did they get there in the first place? And as we probably didn't execute that as well, our exits. The other one is our defence was generally good most of the game, and then sometimes our spacing was just a little bit wide, and they were able to straighten up on us and get over our game line. So, we'll tidy all that up, and then probably the last there is that we probably left a lot of opportunities but just not being patient. Guys trying to throw 50-50s and we didn't need to, and so there's a bit to work on. But I suppose at the end of the day, it's better to have a win and things to work on than lose.
Great. And you mentioned some guys getting their Connacht debuts today, so Rory Parada, Napier, Fox Matamua and Ben Marshall. Were you happy with how they went?
Yeah, very pleased. I think, young Rory Parada, he's third year in the academy, and I think he'll be the first to admit that he probably didn't put the same amount of effort into what he's done now. He's been really focused, and that's probably a bit of maturity. There's no doubt he had the talent and the skill, and he's worked hard in the pre-season. I suppose with Robbie Henshaw away, Api Pifaranga getting injured, he's saw an opportunity, and fair play to him. He's worked hard, and some of the older players, Bundy's taken him under his wing in the game and looked after him, and he's got a big future ahead of him, and I was really pleased for him and his family. I think Napier Fox Matamua, he showed why. The qualities that he has got, and really strengthened. He's a different sort of back rower. He's a real forager, but he's pretty comfortable on the ball. And it was great to see Ben Marshall, join us. And again, there's some big competition with the second rows, and you can see why. I think Ben's presence coming in has really lifted. People like Andrew Brown too. Sees his game's gone to another level, and that's what we want. A lot of competition.
Great. There was a great atmosphere out there for our first game. It was great to be back in front of the home fans, and they seemed to thrive off the tries we did score in a good game. So
I'll tell you, it's just nothing better than playing at the Sportsground, and the crowd, and to hear them singing the Fields of Athenry before the final whistle. It's a good day's work for them. And they know. I know they appreciate that we can be better, but they certainly appreciate the effort the boys put in. And I think. The other thing I was pretty pleased, it was just great to see Rodney, when Rodney went off, to get a massive ovation from the crowd. I'd say, a few years ago you wouldn't expect that, and they appreciate the efforts that not only Rodney but all the boys put in, and that's great.
Great. And we'll be back at the Sportsground on October 3rd, but in the meantime we've got Glasgow away.
Yeah.
What's the main focus, I suppose, for the week ahead of that?
Well, we know we're in for a big day up front. They're the defending champions. They're at their home. No one's beaten them at home for a long time. And of course Dan's over there too. So, it's a big challenge for us. And, although they've got a lot of players out, through the World Cup, they still got, even this week, we see they fielded 15 internationals in their 23. So it just shows the quality that they have. But ultimately, rugby is a team game, and we've got a bit of work to do this week, and everyone's pretty focused to get over there and get the second one and away from home before we have the break.
Great. Thanks, Pat.
Thank you.
Okay, Tiernan, job done. What's the mood in the change room after that?
Yeah, happy enough for getting the win, I suppose, but maybe a couple of lads disappointed with performance-wise. But at the end of the day, I suppose first game of the season we'll take the win. Obviously our defence, I think, was one of the main things we need to work on going forward. We're a bit disappointed conceding so many tries, but again, we'll take the W and work towards next week.
Okay, so going obviously Glasgow next week. And we have a big focus on that, going over to Bennington.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's going to be Glasgow away is always a tough game. But again, we're going to come in Monday and put a big focus on that. Away games last year we performed pretty well, and we need to target this one because there's a break after that as well. So, you know, it's going to be a big week training for us. I think a few of the forwards are keen to get stuck in as well with Dan, forwards coach over there. So I think it's going to be a big game for us. Again, a lot of things to work on after today, but I think we'll all be good to go for next Friday.
Great. And personally, man of the match performance from yourself, were you happy with how things went?
Yeah, happy enough. You know, it's been I had a good pre-season, you know, and things have gone well. So again, I was bringing that confidence in from pre-season and how things have went, and you know, again, that was the team performance. Everyone, it's easy to look good when lads are doing the roles, you know, making space for you. So again, it's just I'm happy to be back on the pitch and staying fit, and I'll just consistently just go from here and see how the season goes.
Great. You seem to thrive at fullback. Is that where you're happiest?
Yeah, it is. I suppose, you know, I've kind of been back and forth between wing and fullback for the last while, but I know I've had good chats with Pat about it, and I suppose fullback maybe is the place where I'm going to hope to play for the future, and you know, but I'm still learning things from there, and still a lot of work to do. So I'm looking forward to that and working with Pat with that.
Great. Thanks, Tiernan.
Cheers. Thanks.